Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Sergeant Efrain Cornejo. As part of the Milwaukee Police Department's continuous commitment to be transparent with our community, we created community briefings to provide information to the public regarding officer-involved critical incidents. Community briefings are intended to provide relevant information which may include video footage, audio recordings, photographs, and other evidence. It is our priority to release this information and inform our community as soon as possible, unless releasing the information will compromise the integrity of the investigation. When watching this video, keep in mind that this may still be an ongoing investigation. For privacy purposes, we have concealed audio and images of community members captured in this video. The video you are about to see may contain officers using force, explicit language, and disturbing images. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Hello, I'm Inspector Craig Sarnum with the Milwaukee Police Department Administration Bureau. In this community briefing, I'm going to share with you information regarding the circumstances surrounding the officer-involved shooting that occurred in the 9100 block of West Silver Spring Drive on the afternoon of Friday, February 21st, 2023. On this date at approximately 1:48 p.m., a uniformed officer in a marked police vehicle conducted a traffic stop in the 7100 block of West Thurston Avenue on a vehicle with no registration plates. The officer exited his vehicle, began to approach, at which time the auto abruptly fled.
Squad 4172 traffic.
4172,
I'm here Sammy from Thurston. Stop is a black Infinity. No plates. I know occupants do tent. No reason, no plates. Ooh. Right, windows down. Westbound on 70th, on southbound.
The officer immediately notified the dispatcher and broadcasted a description of the vehicle.
Check that northbound from 70th and Thurston.
are you following her?
I'll just check the area. Make sure it ain't crash or anything. Last seen north on 70th. Actually, he's going approaching Florist right now. Going to go east on Florist from 70th Street.
As squads responded to the area, another uniformed officer observed the vehicle in the area of North 66th Street and West Florist Avenue. The officer activated his light bar and siren and attempted to conduct a traffic stop. However, the subject refused to stop. The officer then initiated a vehicle pursuit and began broadcasting, at which time an additional marked squad assisted and later became the primary squad in the pursuit on West Silver Spring Drive.
Out of traffic, going to disregard the red and
should I take over primary?
Silver.
Sure. 4276, we're going to be primary, just passing the districts. We're going to be going westbound on Silver Spring, passing 71st Street. Speeds of 54, we got no traffic out here, and the roads are dry. Alright, he's going to be clearing 76th Street. Continuing westbound 76th Street, he's got about a block on us, 80 miles an hour. We've got no traffic out here and the roads are dry. Just topping the bridge, going over 145, and he's at Fond du Lac. Continuing westbound Fond du Lac on Silver Spring. Speeds are 90 70 miles an hour, and we've got light traffic and roads are dry. Just past 86th Street, approaching 91st Street. Continuing westbound, we've got a red light up here and stop traffic.
The pursuit came to an end when the suspect disregarded a red traffic signal at 91st and West Silver Spring Drive and collided with a secondary vehicle.
Crash 9-1 Silver, crash 9-1 Silver, crash 9-1 Silver. All right, we got a black male driver exiting the vehicle, purple sweatshirt.
The suspect exited the now disabled vehicle and proceeded to flee on foot west through a gas station parking lot armed with a firearm. A uniformed officer pursued the suspect towards the west side of the gas station while repeatedly giving him verbal commands to drop the weapon. It was there that the suspect attempted to scale a fence, but failed and fell to the ground. The suspect then turned towards the officer, at which time the officer discharged his service weapon multiple times, striking the suspect. Officers then disengaged and continued to give verbal commands, which the suspect did not respond to nor comply with. Due to the lack of responsiveness by the armed suspect and out of an abundance of caution, officers, while at a safe distance, conducted a tactical evaluation of the situation to determine if the suspect still posed an active threat. Once that assessment was completed, officers working as a team then performed a tactical approach, moved the suspect, and secured his weapon, which the investigation later revealed was a Smith & Wesson M&P 40 caliber semi-automatic firearm.
All right, ready? Yeah. How many people are going up? Another one with me. Come on. Put your hands out to your sides. Do it now. Hands out to your sides. Do it now. Hands out to your sides. Not right side.
Yeah, if you guys can hit up on eastbound track on Silver, can have
Officers then moved the suspect to level ground to attempt life-saving measures while a supervisor requested medical attention in accordance with standard operating procedure.
Careful, it's foot.
Silver coming in.
Hold on, let's glove up, you guys. Glove up. Put them up on the concrete, right? All right.
I know you got a tremendous amount going on.
Gloves, get gloves.
Despite their best efforts, the life-saving measures were unsuccessful.
In the BP gas station.
Let me go get Yep.
Speaking to them.
This investigation is being led by the Milwaukee Area Investigative Team with the Waukesha Police Department as the lead agency. As with all police shooting incidents, the officer involved was placed on administrative duty pending the outcome of the criminal investigation by the lead agency and a review by the District Attorney's Office.
Okay, so let's get back into this. So he's making a traffic stop on no tags, and it's a traffic infraction. Basically, it's a motor vehicle, so motor vehicle equipment kind of mount infraction. There's some places in this country that are saying that they don't want police making traffic stops on people like that, and I think that's completely stupid. I think that is good that police are enforcing those type of laws, because typically enforcing those type of laws leads into catching really bad people. Why is anyone driving around without tags on their car? The reason why a lot of these knuckleheads don't put tags on their cars because they don't want to be identified. They don't want witnesses being like, "Oh yeah, tag number 123 ABC. Oh yeah, it was a black Altima." I mean, how many freaking black Altimas are there? How many black Infinities are there? A lot. How many have the tag 123 ABC? Fucking one. that's it. So that's why they take the tags off. They don't want to be easily identified. That's why people put those stupid license plate covers on their license plates to try and hide their tag. So why are you doing that? Because you're up to some shady shit. That's why. So I have no problem with police making stops on things like that. He makes that stop and the dude takes off. His reaction to it is very, very relaxed.
Wait, what is that? Westbound on 70th, going southbound.
The officer immediately noticed.
No pep in his step whatsoever.
Are you following her?
I'll just check the area. Make sure he ain't crash or anything.
I'll check the area, make sure he didn't crash. Like, what the fuck kind of shit is that? Like, where's this dude's mindset at? As lazy as that mindset is, I'm surprised he even made the traffic stop to begin with.
I seen north on 70th. Actually, he's going approaching Florist right now. Going to go east on Florist.
Disregard the red.
Should I take over? Sure. 4276. We're gonna.
So this sounds like a two-man car. You hear him saying, "Should I take over primary?" And the other guy says, "Sure." So I don't know if this is a normal assignment where there's going to be two people working in a car, or if one of the people is a newer officer and the other officer is a field training officer. There are some places here in the U.S. where it is a normal assignment to have two officers to a car. And then there's other places where it's not normal at all, and it's just a solo car. Like there's just one officer in that car. And the only time that there's two officers in a car is if there's some type of special assignment type of thing going on, or it's field training going on. There's a new rookie officer in that car. So don't know what's going on here, but there's two of them in there. Now, with there being two of them in this car, and this high-risk incident is occurring, the passenger, in my opinion, needs to be getting the rifle out and ready. Because when they come to a stop, this is going to be a high-risk traffic stop. It's going to be a felony traffic stop. It's all has the increased chance of there being a gunfight. So, what do you bring to a gunfight? A rifle. And you bring all your friends with rifles. Now, I don't know how they have their rifles set up in their vehicles. They may have the rifle up there in the cab in a mount, or it may be in the cargo hold. I don't know. But let's say it was in the cargo hold. Well, they know that they're going to be getting in position for this car to be, coming there. They're going near it, obviously. I think it would have been an okay idea for them to make a brief stop. Passenger gets out, runs to the back, grabs the rifle, and runs back up front and gets in the passenger seat. Dangers the rifle up, and then wait for this guy to come around. If it's up in the cab, then obviously there's no problem, no issues with that officer getting that rifle out. If it's in the cab, it should be super easy. And I think it's best that you have the rifle out and ready to go, so that when you come to an abrupt stop, boom, you're automatically able to put that rifle into play right then and there. Versus if you come to a complete stop and then you try to go retrieve the rifle from the back, or you try to retrieve the rifle from the mount. Although it just takes seconds to do it, when you come to an abrupt stop and you start taking contact, those seconds are way, 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 way too long to even get the rifle out. So it's always best to pre-stage, so to speak, the rifle, to go ahead and get it out, danger it up, get it ready. That way, when and if you come to that abrupt stop and contact starts, boom, that rifle is right there in your hands, slung around your neck, between your legs, like right there on you. It's ready to go to work.
Primary, just passing the districts. We're going to be going westbound at Silver Spring, passing 71st Street.
So the guy on the radio sounds like a fucking airline pilot making an announcement over the intercom. Like,
Speeds of 54, we got no traffic out here, and the roads are dry. Alright.
and thank you for flying, Milwaukee police.
Clearing to 76th Street. Continuing westbound 76th Street, got about a block on us, 80 miles an hour. We've got no traffic out here, and the roads are dry.
All right, so he's got very clear, concise radio communications. I mean, yeah, I gotta crack the joke about sounding like an airline pilot on the intercom, but give him props. He does have very clear and concise radio communications. There's no excited tone in his voice. He's not like yelling and shrieking. He's like, "Oh, 91st," and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's clear what the hell he's saying. Like, everyone can understand what the message is. So, good communications with that. But I do think he misses calling as a airline pilot.
91 Silver. Alright, we got a black male driver exiting the vehicle, purple sweatshirt.
So, unfortunately, this guy did get hit by this vehicle. And these people are victimized because of that. And, some people will say, well, this is why pursuits don't need to happen. It puts people at risk. And then, what does that do? Where does that get us? It gets us in a lot worse condition. Yeah, it sucks that there are going to be people who become victimized from these pursuits. But on the flip side, if you just let people run and you never go to catch them, it's going to grow. Everyone's going to start catching on to it. So when you think about, I don't know what the population of that town is, but you take that population out of all the traffic stops they have in a year, they're going to have a certain percentage that they just drive away. And under, their current policies of how they operate, if they have restrictive policies or not on pursuits, I don't know if they do. But, let's say you take a town of this same size that has no, like, really harsh restrictive policies in place, and you look at the traffic stops and how many people run away, it's going to be a smaller number because they know that they're going to be chased. They know that, there's no getting away. And you take another town, the same population, and you start putting in these restrictive pursuit policies, you're going to see those numbers of people fleeing increase because the word gets around, if you just keep driving, the cops will turn their lights off. They won't chase you. And you start getting more and more people who say, fuck 12, and just keep driving. And they don't stop. They just keep going. And that emboldens the criminals. That emboldens them. That gives them a mental edge. That gives them a mental win that they've done something that know they're not supposed to do, and they got away with it. They've done something very egregious. And so that snowballs into them committing more crimes. If they have no fear of being caught by the police, they're going to go out and do more. They're going to go all out. They're going to be bold. If they do what they want, all they got to do is run. They know they're not going to be stopped. So I think that restrictive pursuit policies actually increase crimes and cause more people to be victimized. But trying to explain that logic to a bunch of stupid-ass anti-police, hug-a-thug fuckheads, it's like talking to a brick wall. Alright, so they're going to pop a screen up here in the bottom. Alright, so as he has exited the vehicle, he is into the sidewalk right now. This passenger officer is dismounting and going after him. Yeah. So at least this guy is practicing good trigger finger control. He's got his finger up onto the upper portion of the rail, almost onto the slide area. He doesn't have his finger wrapped around the trigger. That's good. I mean, I don't know if he is consciously thinking about firearm safety. Kind of doubt it. Or if this is just how he's holding the gun. But I gotta say that, hey, that's pretty good. In his other hand, it almost looks like he has a magazine for the gun. So, gun, magazine. Alright. So I don't know what this guy was thinking. So it looks like he tried to jump and scale the fence right here, which at first you can't in the camera tell that it's a fence. You can tell this obviously is a fence and everything, but right here is chain link. And he fails to negotiate this obstacle and lands on his ass with gun still in hand. I think that's kind of funny. So you see him, whoop, jumping up, bam. That was like a horrible attempt. Like, I don't even know if this guy, like, surely he had to have, like, noticed this was a fence. But, like, it doesn't even seem like he's doing anything proper to actually go over the fence. It almost looks like he's running and he's just leaping forward like he's going to land in the parking lot and doesn't even know that that fence is there. But whatever, he fucking hits it and lands on his ass. So the gun, it appeared to me and it's hard to pause it just right, but if you pay attention to his hands, as his hands are coming down, it almost looked like his hands were empty. But then he reaches forward, and it looks like he could be picking up or attempting to pick up the gun that he may have dropped. I don't know if he had the gun in his hand as he was falling or not. It almost looked like it was empty. The officer would be able to better tell with his eyes. The cameras, as good as they are, they just cannot show to us exactly what the human eye saw, because the human eye is going to see a whole lot better than this camera. So he may have seen the gun in his hand and knew the guy still had the gun, or he could see that the guy had dropped it but was trying to retrieve it and pick it back up. If the gun's already out of your hand and you're reaching down to pick up that gun, that means one thing: you intend to use it. So either way, this officer's justified in using deadly physical force. He's justified in using deadly physical force under Tennessee versus Gardner, in my opinion, just to stop him, because this guy is a substantial risk to the rest of the public. He is basically assaulted a person in that crash from fleeing from the police. He's running with a gun in his hand. He is a substantial risk to the public. So this officer would have been 100% justified in just shooting the guy just to stop him. Under this context right here, the dude is armed. This officer is 100% justified in using deadly physical force because this guy poses a risk. This officer has a legitimate fear that this guy could try to kill him or is going to kill him. And so he is using force to stop that from happening. I have no problem, none whatsoever, with him firing into this guy's back. Some people seem to have a big issue with people being shot in the back. I don't see what the big deal is. I think these people are basing their beliefs and opinions off of stupid crap like Hollywood movies and those kind of beliefs that come from those movies, like, oh, it's a dishonorable thing to shoot a person in the back. No, it's not. If that's the only target that's available at that point, you work with what you got. Just because this guy has his back turned to the officer, it doesn't mean that he's not a deadly threat. He could pick that gun up, slightly turn his torso, and aim the gun back at the officer and start shooting, with most of his back facing the officer. So no problem whatsoever putting rounds into a person's backside. So he turns, he's looking at the officer, and that part right there starts to speed up, and it's hard to get it to pause just right. So you see his hand right there, but it's hard to tell if there's a gun in that hand or not. Yeah, it's so hard to tell. You can't get it paused just right. It's so blurry, can't tell for sure. But I think he had it in his hand. Actually, that's a good freeze frame right there. Again, it's like you can't even tell it's a hand, but yeah, I mean it's so blurry and choppy, like you can't really make out what it is. So it sounded like he fired probably around 10 or 11 rounds.
Officers then disengaged and continued to give verbal commands, which the suspect did not respond to nor comply with. Semi-automatic firearm.
All right. So I like the tactic of, after utilizing deadly physical force and backing away, that you wait before you go back up. You wait until you have good sufficient numbers of people before you go up and deal with that person. I think that's the most ideal thing to do. That gives everyone time to get ready, get prepared, get rifles out, get good coverage, get someone gloved up, get your arrest team put together, someone with the cuffs, etc. That's a good tactic to use right there. Why rush into it when you don't need to? The guy could be laying there waiting for someone to roll up there, and he's going to decide to roll over and pump rounds into them so that he don't die alone that day. I think it's best that these tactics like this are used when they can be used. If the person ends up bleeding out, oh well. I really do not care. They can sit there and bleed out for 5 minutes while these officers gather an arrest team, get ready, get prepared to move in. If that person didn't want to bleed to death, then they shouldn't have fucking pulled a gun on the police. They shouldn't have been doing the stupid shit that they were doing to get shot. It's all on them. They're the ones who brought this upon themselves, no one else. So like I said, they can sit there and bleed for all I care. The officers need to be the ones who go home at the end of shift. They need to do things correctly, get everything organized, and execute the plan. This guy needs to replace his duty gear. Like this looks like shit.
Ready? How many people are going up? Another one with me. Put your hands out your sides! Do it now! Hands out your sides! Do it now! Hands out your sides! On right side!
And so, like, what's funny is here's a wide open spot right here that this dude could have just went slightly to the left and ran through, it looks like.
On right side!
So it is possible that this guy just didn't notice the chain link fence until he got too close to it. Because it is a quite a different, contrast. Got very dark black noticeable fence and then chain link. But again, like, I just don't see how he did not notice that. And then how he did not notice that opening in the fence. Like, what was this guy, like partially blind or something? So gun right there where he was at, looked like to me he had it, and then when he fell forward after being shot, he landed on top of it. So another tactic that I've seen utilized when approaching a person who's been shot and they're laying down is to utilize less lethal weapons on them before going up there and touching them. I've seen impact munitions like from a 12 gauge beanbag or a 40 millimeter launcher being utilized to see if there's a reaction from the person. I don't care how strong you are, you're going to react some way to a beanbag or 40 millimeter hitting you. It may not hurt enough to stop you. You can overcome the pain that it inflicts and continue to fight, which happens a lot, almost all the time. But you're still going to react in some way. You're still going to flinch. So this guy was kind of laying in a prone position, sort of. Had they, shot him in the back or in the buttocks with a beanbag round or a 40 millimeter baton round, he would have flinched. He would have recoiled in some way. If they would have hit him and no reaction whatsoever, that's probably a pretty good indication that the guy's not faking it. Like he's probably legit unconscious. Another technique I think that would be acceptable is once they get within taser range, continue to issue those verbal commands. they don't get a reaction, deploy taser. Put probes in him. One, you're going to get a reaction out of him. Two, you get good probe placement and you achieve NMI, neuromuscular incapacitation. If he is awake, if he is just playing possum, you deploy taser, you achieve NMI. And then you can go forward and arrest under power while he's unable to control his limbs. Even a paper ball gun, I think, would have been an acceptable thing to utilize on this guy before making the approach. But anyway, they make that approach, and they grab a hold of him and start dragging him away from the gun, and you can see that the gun was under him. So he definitely had it on him in his hand, and it dropped it after being shot, or had not fully got it up off the ground when he was getting shot. Looks like he leaked all over his gun. So an M&P shield. I don't know what this is. Light wind. So it looks like a weapon-mounted light on the gun. It's not a professional weapon-mounted light. It's not anything that any industry professionals are going to be utilizing. It's some cheap brand. Now we do see what looks like windage right here. LR, left, right. So this might be a light and laser combo. So these street dudes, they love laser beams on their guns. They call them beams. They see all their favorite rappers using them in the rap videos. Whenever they do the rap videos with the lasers on the guns, like they always get the lasers turned on. They're always like, shining them around and pointing the lasers at the camera and stuff. Like they're really fucking intrigued with these lasers. It's like a little toy. It's like a toy for a kid, and they're just like untrained gun people, right? Like they think, oh, I'll put this laser on the gun. I'm gonna be accurate. So for them, it's a mixture. I think it's a mixture of them trying to imitate what they see in the rap videos with their favorite rappers, and them just being just like regular dumb gun people who are uneducated, untrained gun people who think, oh, I'll put this laser on here and I'll be accurate. It don't work like that. Number one, because you see these dials on here, you have to zero that laser to the gun. Just because you slap that thing on there doesn't mean that as soon as you slap it on, the bullet's going to go where the laser is. And a lot of them don't understand that concept. They have no concept of that whatsoever. They just slap the thing on there and think it's good to go. And the other ones, they're felons. They got stolen guns. They can't necessarily go to a shooting range to practice with that gun and get it zeroed in and dialed in. Where are they going? Are they sitting in an alley somewhere shooting at Coke cans, dialing this thing in? No. Like, they're not taking the time to go out and zero their sights in. They just slap the damn thing on and go. Which is a bit, I guess you could say that's kind of a plus, because they're using a unsighted sight, essentially. Lasers on a gun, I don't think are the cat's meow. I just don't think they're worth it, especially for handguns. If you're going to have some type of light device on your handgun, it needs to be a weapon-mounted light, something that projects a lot of white light, high candela, high lumen count, so that you can see in the dark. Not so much to just always be able to see what you're shooting, but to see that if you do need to shoot or not. That's the biggest thing with a weapon-mounted light, is being able to positively identify the target and whether or not you need to shoot that target. Yeah, you can put your laser beam on the darkened person at night and know that you got the laser beam on them, but can you tell if they're really armed or not? Can you positively identify it? No, you can't. That laser is just not bright enough to have enough spill to have so much light coming into your eyes for your brain to have all that data to interpret. You're just not going to see shit. All you see is that red dot on that person, and then that's it. You don't see that the hands are empty. You don't see if there's a gun or a knife or a weapon in that hand or not. With a weapon-mounted light, you can, so you can make a better informed decision when you utilize a weapon-mounted light. Now, during the day, the lasers can be difficult to acquire, and sometimes what you'll see people doing is they do like a fishing kind of thing with the gun. They'll pull the gun out, point it at the target, and then they kind of move their hand back and forth, up and down, trying to acquire where the laser is pointing at. Just like if you come up to a computer and you sit down on the computer and you put your hand on the mouse, you're going to move that mouse back and forth to like try and pick up where the cursor is up on the screen. You're trying to detect that movement to be like, all right, now I'm orientated. Now I know how to aim in this mouse to click on what I want. Same with the laser on a pistol during the day. You're just fishing for that damn laser. And it's a whole lot quicker, a whole lot faster just to use your iron sights. At nighttime, it may be a little bit easier to put that laser on the target. It's a whole lot better or easier to pick up, but same thing. You may not be able to see enough of that target to identify whether or not you need to shoot that target or not. So, horrible choice right here, in my opinion, with one, this product being an inferior product. It's not something that any professionals use, and it has a laser on it. Now, I don't know if this dude put this thing on here or not. I think that he probably stole this gun. I don't think that he bought this gun and customized it or had it customized, because you can see a stippling job on this gun. Someone has gone through the process of doing a stippling job on this thing. You can even see it going all the way down along the sides of the trigger guard right here. I would say that most likely this is a stolen gun. Someone probably kept this in their car because, you know, they work at a place that doesn't allow them to carry guns, and so they were obeying a rule and left their gun in the car, and it got stolen, or it got stolen out of their home. That's, like I said, the most likely way I think this dude came into possession of this handgun. Now, I don't know if this is color fill from his blood or what, but like, because we don't see what looks like blood on any other part of the slide. It's just within the engraving parts right here. So sometimes people do color filling on their guns. I don't see the point in it. I think it's kind of a stupid practice. It serves really no real functional purpose. It's just more of an aesthetic thing. So what looks like color fill and the stippling, this kind of tells me that the person who originally owned this gun was probably an untrained gun person. And especially if they're keeping it in the car or somewhere where it's going to be easily stolen. They're not carrying the damn thing. They probably haven't trained very well with it, or if even at all. And if this was their choice of putting this thing on there, that's even a further sign that they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Officers then moved the suspect to level ground to attempt life-saving measures while procedure.
Careful, his foot.
In accordance with standard operating procedure.
Careful, his foot.
So his foot gets caught on the fence as he's dragging him, and dude ends up kind of doing the splits.
Hold on, let's glove up, you guys, glove up. Put him up on the concrete, right?
So this guy's got the right mindset, putting gloves on. Anytime you go to touch someone who has bodily fluids on them or all over them, you want to have gloves on. You have to assume that they have the worst of the worst. They've got AIDS, hepatitis, whatever. They've got it, and you don't want it. If that means that it takes time for you to put gloves on, and they're bleeding while you're putting these gloves on, again, so be it. They shouldn't have done what they did to get shot. They brought that shit upon themselves. They can sit there and bleed while you take the time to protect yourself with proper protective equipment. Proper personal protective equipment.
I know you got a tremendous pump going on.
Take gloves!
Despite their best efforts, the life-saving measures were unsuccessful.
In the BP gas station. Speaking of them.
This investigation is being led.
Tremendous pump going on.
Take gloves!
So I don't think that it's unfortunate at all. I think it's fortunate.
Take gloves!
Here we have one less. Can't get the freeze frame right.
Gas station.
We have one less scumbag in the world. So it's not unfortunate. It's fortunate. What's unfortunate is him forcing that officer into having to make that decision. It's unfortunate that he victimized those people at that intersection and caused them to wreck, ruin their vehicle. Like, I don't know where those people were going. They could have been going to work. They could have been going to pick up their kids. They could have been going to whatever. It don't matter what the hell they were doing. But the fact that they were involved in an accident, that then stopped them from doing what they were wanting to go do. Depending on the damages of the vehicle, that vehicle may not be able to drive anymore. So now those people are out of a car, and insurance companies are not that easy to deal with. Like, they make shit difficult. And so while that car has been destroyed, what are they going to drive? Will their insurance cover a rental? Will it cover a rental for the amount of time it takes to get the repairs done to their car? Is the insurance company just going to total the car out, and then now they're going to have to go through the car shopping process? Like, if you've ever going to be in car shopping, like, it's not fun. It's really not. It sucks. So those people at that intersection, they are now affected for at least a good month, 2 months, most likely, that they are having to endure bullcrap because of this dude's actions. All the other stuff that he's done that we don't know about from this video, the gun itself, like I said, I suspect that gun's probably stolen. So that person was victimized. One, he got his gun stolen, and then two, now because it was involved in this kind of crime, even though it's been recovered, it's probably going to be a very, very long time before he ever gets that gun back. And because it's now in a homicide investigation, it's definitely going to be kept in evidence for a very long time, if not indefinitely. Even though the officer is going to be cleared of this, it's still likely that it's going to be held in evidence for a very long time. So that gun that I think that was stolen from a person, that person is probably never going to be getting it back, at least not for a very long time. And so they're out of pocket for that gun and everything. So yeah, it's unfortunate that this dirtbag victimized other people and caused mishap in other people's lives. Alright, that's it. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.